Afternoon, folks. Welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. Today I got another smart home tech product for your home or apartment or business, and that is an outdoor pan tilt zoom camera. So I'm pretty excited about this one because from what I can tell right now by the initial look, it looks to be a little bit smaller than some of the other versions I've reviewed. This one may end up going on the side of my house. I haven't really tested the resolution yet, tested the function. What I like to do is come back and re-review these products at a later date and give you guys kind of my assessment on these different brands, kind of in an all-inclusive video. I like to do things like that after I have some time to really get to know these products. Because let's face it, anything you buy a lot of times is going to have something crop up that you say, hey, maybe I would have changed this, maybe I'm looking for this on my next purchase, right? So this one here, like most cameras I've reviewed, is pretty fully featured, and most of the products that you can get now when it comes to smart home tech and video surveillance are pretty decent. There are differences across all price points, but again, I always like to mention that price does not determine quality and is not a indication of features, right? So a lot of these cameras, super affordable, just absolutely something that anybody can really add to their home. Now, these give you a lot of peace of mind, and what's great about this is that you can't, remember to layer your security. Don't depend upon one thing to protect your assets or protect your family. You want to layer your different levels of security, whether that be a beefed up front door, a different deadbolt, security lights, cameras. All these little things help to give you that peace of mind you're looking for. So let's take a look here. It's going to be kind of a simple unboxing. I'm going to mention a few of the features of this particular brand, and then ultimately give you guys the information for you to check it out and click the link in the description and see what they have to offer. Price point on this is great. It's $39, and it looks like right now they have a coupon code that gets you 35% off. I mean, for an outdoor pan tilt zoom camera, that's an incredible price. So definitely give this one a look. So before I talk about the features here, I'm going to unbox it here and see what this sucker looks like. You guys know I never really get too involved in showing off the box, but you do get, let's see what you get here. You get your accessories, and this is most likely probably your power adapter. Yeah, so this is your USB adapter, right? Pretty standard with most of these cameras, but I have reviewed some that don't come with that. I'm glad that this one does. Also, what's pretty nice about this is that, believe it or not, a lot of the pan tilt cameras have much larger power cords and much larger power supply. So this is nice that you could actually plug this into really any USB port, providing it provides the right amount of voltage, which we'll find out what this is here. Cord is already attached, so that's kind of a little bit of a downside, I think, with this camera. That's about it. You get the instruction manual. That's it. So we're going to put this aside. Because if you do have a problem where this gets damaged or worn out, it seems to be like the camera is going to be useless at that point. It does have the, let's see what they got under the cap here. Let's see what you got. Let me get something to pop this open. This is most likely your reset button and your micro SD card. Something I recommend. Yeah, so you have your reset button and, of course, your micro SD card. I do recommend anybody who's getting any kind of camera, period, anywhere in your home. A lot of times they don't come with the SD card, so go ahead, even get an 8 gig. Just, you don't have to get something huge. Just get something where you're going to be able to have a record of any kind of event. Don't depend upon cloud recording. Don't depend upon, again, layering that security. Don't depend upon one thing to save that footage, you know what I mean? So definitely, if you're going to order this, you save 35%, get a micro SD card. If you have one laying around from an old phone or something like that, put it in here. You'll be happy you did. As far as the size, this is great. I really like the fact this is smaller. Some of the other cameras have been quite large when it comes to the pan tilt zoom style cameras. So this is a real perk for me, especially if you don't want your home to necessarily look like a prison, This does blend in nice with your molding or your trim. Of course, if you have white trim, there are some folks who have like black trim and darker trim, then I recommend you trying to blend the camera in. Now, if you're looking for the camera to stand out, which again is another layer, another element of security, sometimes you want the camera to stand out. It just depends on what you're going for. I would always state that cosmetically or aesthetically, blending into the molding, if you have white molding, is going to I think, look nicer, but you may really want this to be just have a visual presence. And sometimes just having the visual presence of a camera is enough to deter somebody from maybe doing wrong. All right, so pretty nice. I like, again, downside, again, the cord, you know, if that does get damaged, you know, you could probably replace it, but you have to get a little bit handy, open the camera up, and everybody's skill set's a little different. That's something I would do, but in all honesty, for the price point, you know, if it does fail at one point, it's easy enough just to buy another one. So you do get 2 antennas on this. I'll state that any camera that's going outside definitely needs this because you know, remember your router has to be able to reach, or your wireless access point has to be able to reach your devices. Now that is two-way communication. You could have the best router in the world or the best access point in the world, and if that signal's getting to the camera but it can't communicate back, it really doesn't make any difference. So I like the fact they have 2 antennas on this. That definitely helps. And what also helps when you mount this is to adjust these antennas. One downside I see is the antennas only are adjustable up and down. You know, you can get them horizontally, but some of the other cameras I reviewed have the ability to really tilt these, and that might be helpful depending on where you're going to be mounting this. It's always a good idea whenever you mount a wireless camera outside that you do kind of go around the house with some free apps like a Wi-Fi signal detector. You can download that app on your phone and check the signal strengths to make sure you're going to get a solid signal. That, I think, is the one thing that really kills performance on any kind of outdoor security camera. And believe it or not, your signal doesn't penetrate through walls really well. All right, so talk about the features here. So what do we got here? It's again, this is probably mentioned the brand. It's GNCC. Not to be confused with the nutrition company. So it's GNCC. Again, a lot of these Chinese brands just kind of randomly pick names. That's what they chose. This is the K1 Pro. This is the model. Again, link is in description. I always encourage anybody who watches my videos is to just go ahead and read about it as well and hear what I have to say about the features. Great. A lot of this stuff is going to be kind of redundant because, in all honesty, all these cameras that I've reviewed and shared have all been pretty good. They all work. Some work better than others, but they all work pretty well. And there's always little nuances where you might find, hey, I wish they would improve that a little bit, or but in all honesty, I use lots of different brands, and like I said, I think the price on this is so good, I'd give it a try. If you don't like it, you can return it, right? It's pretty easy. 360 degrees of full view and automatic motion tracking. I find motion tracking is something I don't generally keep on. If you live in an area where if you have a situation where you're mounting these, let's say on the corner of a house, this thing is going to be able to rotate 360 degrees and almost look around the corner. But I do recommend getting 2 of these if you're mounting this on a corner. Have them on the opposing corners, right? This way you get a full field of view. But the motion tracking, what I find about that is it does kind of get fooled, and sometimes I'll find my camera pointing at the side of the tree, right, or the bush, and once it detects motion or gets fooled and it's facing that direction, it doesn't turn back, and if it's out of the field of view of actual motion, you might miss something. So I like to turn that feature off. I think kind of position your camera at the main kind of target spot, and then you adjust it where you want. So we have 2K resolution with color night vision. Generally, color night vision, from what I found on cameras, is basically just LED lights. So I generally tend to just use standard night vision. It depends on the CMOS sensor. You might be able to get away with these things just working with no night vision whatsoever. So you don't have to play around with it. If you are in an area that's completely dark, I have a lot of lights around my house, but if you do have a kind of situation in your particular property that is really dark, you might want to just consider leaving the infrared on. What else we get here? First, the degrees of rotation. This is kind of self-explanatory, but I will tell you it has 355 degrees of horizontal and 110 vertical degrees of rotation, and that gives you a 360 degree all-around protection. One thing to be noted here with all these cameras, which I do find annoying, is that they all stop at the back. So when you're rotating this around to check your property, once you get to the back, and you won't go necessarily that far because you'll be looking at your house, they don't continue to spin. You have to go all the way back around. Maybe on some more expensive cameras, they might have a full 360 degree continuous rotation, but this is not one of them. You do have motion and sound detection. I don't need to read to you what that means. You guys know what that means. That's something outside sound detection. I've never really had a camera that worked reliably enough at this price point to be able to tell the difference between human behavior or you know, it's got to be picking up everything. You know what I mean? It's outside. So sound detection is something you could use inside the house. Just because this is an outdoor cam, it doesn't mean you can't put this inside your house, although it depends on your house. I like my cameras to kind of blend in on the inside. This is pretty intrusive, and that might make your guests feel a little uncomfortable. Again, it's totally your house, but if I had a house that had maybe something like a large vaulted ceilings or something a lot larger, you might be able to get this to blend in. Again, that is, you know, subjective. And it says here you have 3 modes of night vision and a spotlight alarm. 3 night vision modes, choice of black and white mode or full color, and automatic mode. You can set the security camera K1's floodlight turn on when motion's detected in a dark area of your home, front door, garage, etc., etc. So what I like about these cameras, this is not the only one like this I've seen. You can set up detection zones. So if somebody actually does come into that zone, it'll act like a motion sensor light as well. Time will tell how well this works. Some of the ones that I have by other companies, they don't work all that well. So sometimes they come on, sometimes they don't. It's really pretty random, and then they'll just stay on. So we will come back to this and see how it works at a later date when I actually get to install this. What else? Two-way audio with multi-user access. Multi-user access is pretty nice because you might actually want, you know, like for instance, I have a different brand camera at my folks' house, and we can both look at that camera. So my mom can check it, I can check it, my sister, whoever. So it's nice to have that multi-user access, as opposed to companies that, you know, you could have the exact same login, but then the person's sharing your login. So with this, you're going to have multi-users, which is great. And you could probably set, let's see here, it says here, it says you can remotely review your camera, you know, driveway, etc., etc. The app is called, I don't know why they just can't make the OSAIO. I don't even know how to say that. They should just really create these names to be a little. Call it the GNCC app. The camera's called GNCE. But anyway, again, just it doesn't really specify the features you're going to have in sharing, but you can share it. See, what I like with a shared camera is that you have the administrator has all the privileges for settings. I don't know whether or not this is going to allow, you know, you don't want like your mom to get in there, hit something wrong and screw up. I mean, you won't screw up a setting, but change a setting. So that's something we'll have to find out. Local and cloud storage. Again, playback. I'm not going to read this word for word. It's just, you understand what that means. You can play back the footage. Most of these cameras will allow you to record on a loop, and then it'll record over what you've previously recorded once you get to the end of your storage. Or they'll record snippets. So basically when it detects motion, it'll record. Generally my cameras, when they have an onboard SD card, I just have them recording on a loop. Get a 32 gig SD card, they're cheap enough, and just let it record on a loop. This way, if there's any kind of issue, you can go back. Even if there's not an issue, maybe motion wasn't detected, you can go back and look at that footage. So those are really the main points that this company did want to share, want me to share with you guys. And like I said, the price point is fantastic. I mean, $39, what's that put us exactly? And this is free shipping as well. Again, that is provided that you are an Amazon Prime member. If you're not, I would encourage you to sign up for Prime. So this is going to put the camera, and again, tax depends on where you live, if there's any tax. Going to put this at, and you get it for $26. I mean, that's an incredible price, and it just goes to show you how electronics are just coming down in price and getting cheaper and cheaper. You can't go wrong with this. I mean, if granted, this camera was sent to me for review, which is great, but honestly, if I was in the market to buy a camera, I mean, for $26, go look at what some of the brand names cost. And I'll tell you, again, I've tested the brand name cameras before. They all work pretty well. And I think, again, this is something, the idea with something like this is so you can check up on your house. Don't ever depend upon these cameras to be 100% foolproof. I've noticed that a lot of them, they do get fooled with light changes. They do get fooled from, a car, the mailman. So, a lot of times you're going to want to just go back and look at your footage. But again, time will tell on how great the app is. But again, another layer of security for your home. It's great to be able to check up on your house when you're away. And I'll tell you, that's where I use my cameras the most. If I'm going out somewhere, going out of town, I can always check back and just make sure nothing's going around. Make sure nobody's broken in, it's a great way, it's great peace of mind, and I encourage everybody to have one of these, Other than that, that's really about it. Again, I encourage you to check the description, read about it. There's nothing really more that I can say about it. I don't think there's anything else on here, anything I missed. Again, when we look at something though, like just something I do think that is kind of negative is that, you know, when you plug this in outside, you know, your power adapter for this is not weatherproof. So these do have an element of water resistance. When you mount these on, you know, most homes, I always encourage you to make sure you mount these somewhere where you have kind of an overhang, which will protect it a little bit from the elements. These things are not meant to get completely saturated, but something like this definitely has a little bit more weather resistance than some of your other cameras because you don't have any kind of top seams, and that's where your water could potentially get in. So I like that, but again, give it some protection. And you know, where you plug this in, you're going to have to plug this into an active use receptacle, and you may have to buy an active use cover for that. And those are basically the ones that basically have the clear door, and you run the wire down, you plug it in through the bottom, so that water just runs off the top and doesn't access the adapter. But you know, I found these USB adapters don't last forever. It may be something you might have to change out, and you want to make sure that you get something that is going to protect this. So I do think though that is a little bit of a negative because a lot of the cameras that are weather resistant cameras generally don't have this kind of power connection. But again, this wouldn't dissuade me from buying it. Like I said, I've used cameras that were designed for indoor. I've used a couple at my parents' house that have been out there for 3-4 years that are technically indoor baby cams that I got, you know, back in the day. Didn't have a use for them. I mounted them outside, and they're protected by an overhang, and they still work fine. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can get away with that, but again, do that at your own discretion and your own risk. But for the price point, $25, I mean $26, that's pretty incredible. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Again, links in the description. If I can help you guys in any way, let me know. Stay tuned when I re-review this down the road, which I will. But if you guys have any specific questions about this before you make a purchase, by all means, I'm always here to help you guys out. I want to thank GNCC for their generosity in sponsoring this video and sending this camera to me. I will find a use for it like I always do. Yeah, but if you guys do have any questions and need help, I'm always here to help you guys out. So thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day. Happy holidays. And take care.